Hi, this is Jeff. Welcome to another exciting adventure with Doc Savage Explorations. We're here in northwest New Mexico, Chaco Canyon, to explore a legend that began around here somewhere. I'm not saying it started here, but it started somewhere in this area. 1972, discovered a cavern in the side of a cliff. And in that little cavern, there were 23 chambers, and seems to be it was a time capsule. This, if you don't recognize it, this is the Wingmaker legend. And back in the late 90s, when the NSA researchers arrived to investigate the site, they termed it the Ancient Era Site. So that's what we'll call it, Ancient Era. And at this point, it could just be about anywhere in New Mexico or maybe even Colorado or even Arizona. Don't know, but the legend started around in this area, so this is where we'll start the exploration. This is below us here is Casa Recondada. It's got one little kiva here. It's a very small little settlement. According to the research there, besides Casa Benito and the larger areas, there are 200 more sites around New Mexico, Arizona, southern Colorado that the Chaco culture constructed. They had quite a civilization here, which seemed to peak about the year 1000 or 11,000 AD, about 1,000 years ago. So let's have a brief look at the how the legend began, and then we'll begin the exploration. There is only one source for the Wingmaker legend, and that's the original website posted online towards the end of 1998 by the journalist we will call Ann. The original unchanged website is wingmakers.us. In 1972, a group of hikers in a remote canyon of northern New Mexico discovered some unusual artifacts and one mysterious technological item called the compass. A UNM archaeologist was notified, and he did a survey of the area and analyzed the artifacts. All of the standard artifacts were dated to 700 to 800 AD, but the compass was an enigma. It was covered in strange hieroglyphic symbols, which was also on some of the pottery. Also, the pictographs found in the area were very different from other native petroglyphs. Mostly due to the strange compass, the site was transferred to the NSA. They believed that there may have been a prehistorical ET presence. The site was searched by a special NSA team in 1973, but nothing of significance was found. No one could decipher the strange pictographs, so the project was shelved. In 1994, ground tremors in the area generated rock slides. When NSA later investigated, they discovered an entrance into the canyon wall. Inside that, they discovered tunnels and 23 chambers carved from solid rock. Each chamber contained a painting, a series of pictographs, some hieroglyphics, and technological items. At this time, the project was assigned to the ACIO, an unacknowledged special section of the NSA. The existence of the ACIO was publicly revealed by a whistleblower at the National Press Club Disclosure Conference in Washington, D.C. on May the 9th, 2001. The ACIO stands for Advanced Contact Intelligence Organization. Dr. David Anderson was a high-level member of the ACIO and a linguistics expert, so he was heavily involved with deciphering the ancient era mystery. He was eventually able to unlock a coded optical disc from the 23rd chamber. This revealed the people who created the time capsule. They called themselves the Wingmakers. and they claim to be Terrans from our future of about 2750 AD. The Wingmakers said they created 7 different time capsules around the world that would help humans in our age develop a global unified culture of peace and tolerance. The ACIO management was not happy with Dr. Anderson's findings, so he disconnected abruptly from the organization and sought out the journalist Anne to make public his findings. Anne published his information on wingmakers.us in late 1998, and Dr. Anderson then disappeared. He has lately turned up in Romania, supposedly doing very advanced research in time travel in association with the RIS, Romanian Intelligence Service. Anne also went to ground shortly after and has not been heard from since. I'm trying to make my way on top of the mesa. It's kind of a tight squeeze through here. It's a nice little path up through the cliff onto the mesa. I'm sure the Chaco people use this quite a bit to get up here. So as with any legend, the legend may be true, it may be false, it may be partially true, partially false. So the way I'm going to approach the problem is I'm going to attempt to locate the ancient era site and identify it. If I can do that, that'll lend a lot of credibility to the legend. I would imagine you agree with that. So I'm going to be using a specialized technique I developed that's called remote anchoring. To do this, first you specify an anchor point. That's basically the target. So the anchor point is going to be the time capsule. And then you begin randomly selecting a location called a base point. And from that base point, I'll derive a vector to the anchor point, and the endpoint of that vector will specify an approximation to the actual location of the anchor point, which is the time capsule. So with that in mind, let's find the first base point, and I'll give you that information, and I'll also give you the vector I find. And if you have Google Earth, you can plot it for yourself as we go along and see where things are leading. So let's find a location. Okay, we have arrived. Sin Kletzen. That's the name of this little place. Actually, this place is out of the canyon, and it's quite a bit higher than the large pueblos like Pueblo Bonito, the other ones. And this one is way up here. So this is, I would imagine that they would use this more in the summertime because it was much cooler up here than it's down in the canyon. It's probably 10 to 15 degree difference. But it's a really nice little location, and I would imagine all the traders and the people that moved south from here doing their trading would stop by here before they really set out into no man's land, because let me tell you, we were out in the middle of nowhere here. I mean, there is no civilization within probably maybe Albuquerque or Santa Fe, maybe 150 miles, 200, something like that. But this place is isolated. That wall has to be almost 3 feet thick. I mean, that's a huge wall. Look at the stonework they did building the wall, though. It's very well done. Very well done for 1,000 years ago, and practically no real tools to work with, huh? Okay, here's the first base point. I'm labeling the base points AA base 1. The 2 A's for ancient era, of course. And let me give you the coordinates of the first base point. North 36 degrees, 2.214 seconds. West 107 degrees, 57.505 seconds. And the vector 264 degrees, distance of only 14 kilometers. So according to our first vector, we chose the base point pretty well because we're only 14 kilometers away, which is somewhere 9 or 10 miles, something like that. So, okay, let's move on. Okay, we're beginning day 2 of the exploration. I'm headed west on this trail past Pueblo Benito. It goes down here about 2 miles. We're going to go down here and get another vector. This mesa here is where we were yesterday on the first day. And this little mesa here is called the West Mesa. And the first approximation we derived is, I believe, on the other side of the West Mesa, on down here to the west. But we're going to go all the way down here and get another base point, another vector, and see if we can triangulate the area that the Ancient Era project is in. This is one of the great houses here. It's called Ken Kletzo. Now, that is a huge boulder. I wonder if that boulder was already here when they built it, or it fell later. Because these huge boulders are continually eroding off the cliff here. And they could just fall any time. Okay, I'm probably about 2 miles west on the trail, and we have petroglyphs here. They're kind of worn. They were probably made a long time ago, maybe 1,000, maybe even over 1,000 years ago. But hopefully we'll get some good images, and then I can give you some close-ups. Found some more petroglyphs. This rock is about 3 feet away from me, so you should be able to see the images pretty clearly. That almost looks like a map with the boxes and the little stars inside the box. Look at this scoop mark. It's got one ridge down the middle. What's the purpose of that? Obviously human, or should I say humanoid. And here's another being with kind of a triangle head. I would say this is one of the ant beings that lives in underground caverns. And probably this one here too. This one here in the middle, I don't know about. Looks like he's got some feathers or something coming off the back of his head. I don't know. Very interesting. Wow. Now these are real petroglyphs here. You can tell the real petroglyphs from the graffiti. I don't know about this, but some of that's probably real. But this, on this dark reddish brown rock here, all of the wide lines. Wow. Those are real petroglyphs. You have different types of beans. The natives, not just here in New Mexico, but in Arizona and southern Utah, all over the area, they love to carve these ant beans in the rock and leave the memory of them because they were their friends. The ant beans would help them all the time. They're very benevolent. They're our friends. And they were the friends of the natives too. And the natives treated them with great respect. They're still here. They have their own civilization down below the ground and huge caverns. They have different cities, different areas. I'm at the end point of this trail down here to the west. As far as I'm going to go, I could go like another mile, but I'm going to call it off right here. And I've got some more data for you. The space point is AA base 3. Coordinates are north 36 degrees, 4.588 seconds. West 107 degrees, 59.367 seconds. And the direction vector is 215 degrees, 215, distance of 9 kilometers. So this is the third base point, the third vector, and they all seem to be converging in one area, and it's very promising that we have a very, very good probability that this H and arrow site is real. So that's going to be it for this episode. We will be back to continue this exploration. Got a lot to do, but get back to headquarters and plan the second trip. So see you then. If you like this video, like it, subscribe, please subscribe. When I put my first video out about maybe 2 weeks ago, I had 0 subscribers, so we'll see where that goes. But I hope you enjoyed it.